got a lot of infrastructure improvements going on, the pool being probably the main one that impacts our budget. We've been using our capital reserves to work on the pool, work on this building. Though we have grant money coming in, it's still, it's depleted some of our capital reserve. We can manage. It's a tight budget. We can manage. It depends on what this board is interested in doing. What are your goals? Do you want to see us keep the tax cap? Would you rather see us have a little bit more buffer in our budget? I can go back to the 1.82 and make this a little, take these, cuts that I took out, give us that revenue to be able to, give us a little bit more cushion. It's really only a $30,000 difference. And every time you have a tax cap, you're cutting back what you're going to tax for the next year. So those increases get smaller and smaller. And
it's not going to make a difference, but on top of the pool, with the bids that came in for the water project, it won't. That's going to be
that's not going to get affected by the.
Right.
I will say that the impact on the taxpayer of $30,000 is going to be negligible. No one would notice. So, there's something wonderful, just the concept of staying below, but it's also somewhat, just to put it in a larger perspective, this tax cap that has been imposed by the state and the need to, it's the 2% tax cap or below the rate of inflation, is really unreasonable to local governments who already, Jean runs a very tight ship. Municipalities run a very tight ship and use resources very sparingly, and are constantly faced with unfunded mandates, rising costs, rising healthcare costs, rising insurance costs, and that combination is just not sustainable over the future. And that, in my mind, that really needs to go away, the tax cap. Either that or more money comes from the state to help fund these costs. So, it's a small amount. We should probably wait till we close the public hearing.
I would say let's, if we don't have any other comments, the only thing is, if we're going to discuss stuff, I would like to hear if there's anything we're saying tonight that might influence someone that would like to speak, and we would still like to give them the opportunity. Mr. Hassett?
I'd just like to say real quick that, having set up here for many years when this tax cap first was imposed, the purpose of it was to contain spiraling budgets, contain boards that had, perhaps ambitions beyond their revenue. And it worked for a little while. And I think it gave a wake-up call to local governments and municipalities to say, we really have to take a good look at our budget and make it as tight as possible. And so it was sustainable when it first was implemented. But over the past couple of years, that 2% has gone down to what we see now is 0.87% or 7%. And Jen, as you said, it's just unsustainable. So based on that, and I think you articulated it very well as to the burdens that you as a board are faced with, the increased cost in just about everything across the board. So as a citizen, I would urge the board to feel comfortable with overriding the tax cap and do what you need to do, because it's pretty obvious in looking at this budget and seeing the way you guys operate that we do run a tight ship here. And we have to run a tight ship, but we also have to maintain basic services and what we maintain to this point too. And so I think you're doing a great job, and I urge you to override the tax.
I think another piece of context is just the number of ongoing projects that we have. As Mr. Blanchard pointed out, we have grant funds for a lot of this work, but there's a lot of stuff going on in Rosendale. And if we cut it too close and then something goes wrong,
you always have the option to bond, and when you need to, which we've done when we've had emergencies. My first few, I think it was 1 month in, we had a failing lift stations, right? $100,000 we had to bond. So you do have that option, but we don't have a lot of money left. There's a lot of towns. This was put in place for a lot of towns that were storing money for a long time, keeping money off to the side. And we're not in that position. I guess the choice is, do we want to be a town that has water infrastructure back up and running and healthy, and then that means you're gonna have to pay a little bit more, or do you want to, you know, my goal here was to show you that I can make it happen, and, you know, I've been able to manage to do this 0.73, but it is very tight, and there's
Contingency is low.
very low. And it means, you know, saying no to a lot of people when they, you know, departments come to me and say, I need this or that, and saying no to something. So, you know, when we close this public hearing, if you guys need some time to think about it, that's fine, or you can direct me that you would like me to, you know, keep this at a 1.82, which I still think is a very small increase. And go back, I'll, you know, rearrange it close to what it was before, and I'll still be able to look at the revenues that are coming in and how can we make it work.
How are the other towns, when you go to your supervisors meetings?
A lot of them are making the tax now.
Are making it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, when the governor implement this, right? And is it easier when we write grants to get money by staying on the tax cap than to override? Because if you override, it's almost like we run against the request of Albany in front upon giving us a grant that we may so desperately need. That's the only thing I'm thinking.
Well, you could be right about that, but right now, we got $7 million we gotta spend, so.
Right, exactly. And I would say that this town has gone over and above many other towns in terms of care services. There's been a real push from Albany to, you know, make local governments more efficient.
Well, but for me, looking into the near future, for you all, that with, you know, this water sewer project's really got me very nervous, and we may be needing assistance with that, with these bids that have come in so darn high over our guesstimate originally. That's all I'm thinking, trying to look ahead here on help that we may need if we adhere to what Albany would like us to give them.
You know, I can go either way, you know. I mean, if I keep it under the tax cap, I can make this work. It's not gonna be easy, it's gonna be tough. And I think that everybody has to understand we're tightening our belts. But I do believe that this would be the last year we could do it. And, you know, a lot of this, that would mean that, you know, going forward, whatever Albany has to say, you can only do what you can manage. And we've depleted the extra reserves to do this. And, you know, maybe if we weren't building a new pool, maybe if we weren't moving into a new town hall, I mean, all of those were low costs when you compare what the total cost is of doing those projects, but it still depleted, you know, some of our reserves, which we didn't have a lot, you know, so.
Right.
Well,
On the other
replacing
hand,
100-year-old
we
water
were getting, you know, just that pool, just maintaining it
It was costing money anyway, and I think, like, if you look at, you know, right now, we're gonna be in a position not very much different than we were when we had the old town hall with a, you know, multi-million-dollar facility. Before, you know, we had a, you know, now with the revenue we got coming in, I'm expecting our budget to do for this building, you know, out of pocket for this town is probably, you know, less than $20,000. You know,
Well, actually, that works out good then, because this is the last year we can really do it. This upcoming year will be the year that we're gonna need extra money possibly to fulfill our operations and repairs.
one thing you have to understand is that the way that this building is gonna be run, the revenue and the expenditure is staying in one thing. It's not going to be money that we get to use for the other places. All it's going to do is offset what it costs us to run this building. So if there's extra money, there's never gonna be extra money that you get to spend somewhere else, is what I'm trying to say.
No, but
You understand that, right?
right, my comment was directed to what I originally said. We could buy one more year of state under the cap, because we may be needing to write more grants for additional money for our projects that are gonna be starting up. It may just be a little bit help.
Kind of how Keith and Jill are.
Hi, Jill. Jill, don't be mad at me.
With regard to bonding, right? So this is another option. That sounds kind of like a win-win. If we can stay under this, again, what I feel is an unreasonably low cap, and bond become an emergency. However, with the depleted contingency that we have at this point, depleted reserves, how is that affecting our rating and interest?
It's
for
definitely
government bond?
affected our rating. Let me tell you that,
It won't pay out.
I think it was 2 years in, because we had, we had gotten ourselves in a very good place. We had a 3%, what is that called?
Fund balance?
No,
Oh.
3% rating.
Oh, right.
So it was like very, very high. And, that's been, drastically changed. But it's about, because they look at what do you have, what kind of money do you have in reserves? We have a lot less money in reserves. But once our pool's built, some of these things are done, we can start building up our reserves again. But, like I said, I felt that this was something I needed to put out to you guys, and I'm comfortable going either way. Like I said to you when we first did this 1.82, I don't want to put us at risk. So if this board is comfortable overriding the tax cap, I will reverse, the budget, and I will stick with this number and I will probably bring the reserves in a little differently, that's going to happen.
I don't want to make it sound too complicated, but we're coming into winter, and poor Terry Johnson with his 200-year antique system down there. We had that frozen part by the bridge abutment, and it just takes one of those where we have to go for an emergency that could be a high dollar repair. So I'm just kind of
Well, you
looking
can't
at
have it both ways, you either want the money, or you want the tax cap, which do you
I'm
want?
just to be able to look at
Right?
it. I'm just
Sure.
I
trying
mean,
to look
it's
outside the box.
a tough
That's all.
call, it's a tough call, and that's why I'm asking the board to, weigh in, because I think this
Does
is
the
a tough
public
call.
have any comments? Any feeling?
We heard Dennis, you want to speak on that again, Dennis? Did you want to speak? Oh, yes.
Yeah, just from what Bob said, I understand that maybe it gives you a little more advantage. You said, boy, we've been under the tax back yet. But from what I've been reading, and not only with the towns, but with the school board, there's going to be, they're all going to kind of collapse into next year. I don't think, because of that, I don't think that you're going to find they're going to take it out. If they're all paid under the tax cap, it won't favor them as much. I just think there's going to be too many.
Yeah.
They're all going to go by the wayside, and by a hell of a lot more probably than this. I think the real effect is going to be in the school districts, much more so than Camden now. There's much better now. So I just don't think I don't think the state's going to start holding it against us.
I'm not terribly worried about that, because.
I think it's more on
let's-
how well you present your proposal, and we know the supervisors, adamant those have to be just persist that, and I think that's much more important.
I think that,
I'll go with majority, whatever the people want.
yeah.
I'm good.
I think, as far as the grants go, we have a lot of projects right now, we can only manage so much, and I think we gotta get caught up on, the grants we've been awarded and the funds that we have to work with, and let's get those projects done, and then we can look at what's next and, cross that bridge, and I think by then. But I just wanna remind everyone that, we did get the 1% savings by combining our assessor with Rochester and Marltown. We are gonna be combining some of the staffing here. We'll have a building manager we share, we'll have a cleaning staff that we share. We will have, I'm in the middle of a proposal for the dog warden to be shared. And so, we can continue to work on those ways that we share services, which will give us more savings. But if we put that unrealistic, we have to make a tax cap, that doesn't mean that, we're still looking for ways to save money. And I think that's, we should still provide the services and save the town money. And I think we've done it already, over and over. All the things that we've done. I mean, this building alone is a $4 million project that we have avoided having to spend, so we have to do that.
I just want to point out that, we have a,
Which one are you looking at?
$2.7 million count, or no.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the budget, that's the amount to be raised. We gotta look at the, if you look at the first number on the line.
Right. 4.4. Right. Okay. So 4.4 million. We have a contingency of $32,000. I mean, for an entire, we're talking about an entire town. The contingency was 40,000 2 years ago, and that was low. And to shrink it farther when costs are going up, seems, I have some concern about doing that, and putting the town, that kind of.
What did we spend in
I share this.
contingency last year, Doris?
We didn't, we used it to override some, take everybody else's budget.
And we used it up though, right?
And it's less than last year, so.
I'd like to sleep at night. No. So, I'd like to make, anybody else have a comment or anything on this? I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Wozzachowski,
Yes.
Councilman Lane,
Yes.
Supervisor Walker.
Yes. So it sounds like everybody's leaning towards the override. Can I take a poll vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Will the
Only
board,
one before we go into-
will the board, be okay to authorize me to go back and, make some adjustments to this budget to keep it at the 1.82?
Yes.
First, we have to go over to goodness.
Sorry, Doris.
Sorry.
But at least it's going.
Well, after we turn James Street into an express route, the toll route down there, that's gonna generate money.
I'm thinking it. I've got the fan out on the pole.
All right.
You should charge for
Thank
crosswalks.
you for all you do down there.
Not just down there, Jack sprays the edges of the uneven sidewalk on the St. Peter's Bridge, which is a total tripping hazard.
Oh, yeah, so that-
Fluorescent paint
Oh.
so that people don't trip, and I can't tell you how
Yeah,
many
the
times.
sidewalks have all sunk, and you've got a 3-inch,
Is that paint environmentally safe?
not really.
So that's a cost that is not
Thank you.
incurred by
I
the
mean, you
town.
got people with
thanks to
baby
Jack.
carriages and kids walking, and so the least I can do is throw
Thank you
some
very
paint on
much.
it.
We have a resolution here for the review of the delinquent water and sewer levies. The list is here, we don't approve that till November 18th meeting. And it may be amended because she can still take payments up until that time. What's that?
Set up a phone.
I have this P.W. Wood and Son, this is the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Can I get a motion to authorize me to sign this? This is so that they can rent the rec center. They are a government entity and they have different requirements for hold harmless. We've done it before with them.
What are they, what's the?
It's just for them to be able to do a certificate of insurance. We have to sign this. It's been approved by Mary Lou already.
But they're renting it for the duration of a workshop or
It's,
what?
yeah, it's for an event they're doing.
One event.
Recreation awards.
I know, I said one event.
One event, yes.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Can we, so we just make a motion in a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Supposed to say
I didn't hear any opposed. I heard everybody's voice when I said, yes, I heard you. All right, we have a resolution for a proclamation. Actually, is this a proclamation or a resolution, Jill?
Proclamation.
I'm sorry. Okay. Proclamation gunfight disease among U.S. children between infancy and age 15. This tragic disease is detected in nearly 15,000 of our country's young people each year, and whereas 1 in 5 of our nation's children loses his or her battle with cancer, many infants, children, and teens will suffer from long-term effects of comprehensive treatment, including secondary cancers. And whereas founded over 20 years ago by Stephen Pierstein, a member of philanthropic Max Factor Cosmetics family, the American Cancer Fund for Children, Inc., and the Kids Cancer Connection, Inc., are dedicated to helping these children and their families. And whereas the American Cancer Fund for Children, Kids Cancer Connection provide a variety of vital patient psychosocial services to children undergoing cancer treatment at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City, Morgan Stanley's Children's Hospital in New York City, as well as participating hospitals throughout the country, thereby enhancing the quality of life for these children and their families. And whereas the American Cancer Fund for Children and Kids Cancer Connection also sponsor courageous kid recognition award presentations, community get well cards, and hospital celebrations in honor of a child's determination and bravery to fight the battle against childhood cancer. Now therefore resolved that the town of Rosendale proclaims Childhood Cancer Awareness Week, November 23rd through the 29th, 2015.
I would be honored to second that one.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Metzger?
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski?
Yes.
Councilman Ryan?
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf?
Yes. And I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person, discuss matters made confidential under state law. Oh, and I just want to say, we had $6,009.75 for recycled bottles turned in for the pool as of date, as of today.
$6,000. And I have to say, they are the most meticulously organized bombs I've ever seen.
Really?
George has them like remarkable organization. Oh, really? He takes credit.
Oh, I'm sorry. She gave me no. You can say it again next week.
Yeah.
It might be more by then.